Hey, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about Game 56, the final game of the season for the New York Rangers against the Boston Bruins in TD Garden. And the Rangers would win 5-4 in a thriller that was closer than it should have been by all rights. But let's just get into it. So, first, going into the game, given injuries, because Kakko was out going into it, which meant our injuries included Jacob Trouba, upper body, Chris Kreider, lower body, Ryan Lindgren, upper body, Brett Howden with the broken foot, Julien Gauthier with a knee issue, Artemi Panarin with a lower body, Kaapo Kakko with a precautionary, he was out for that, and Brendan Smith out with a lower body injury, which meant our starting lines going into it was Lafreniere, Zibanejad, and Buchnevich. That sounds fine. Blackwell, Strome, and Kravtsov, that's a little sketchy. Barron, Hedel, and Rooney, that's even more sketchy. And Gettinger, Richards, and Philip DiGiuseppe would be our fourth line, which is yikes. That is just Hartford. And outside of the top defensive pair of Miller and Fox, it gets sketchy, because then it becomes Hayek and Jones, and Reinunen and Potato. But the Rangers somehow found a way to score 5 goals today against Boston. Anyway, first period, pretty much nothing happens. Couple of power plays, that was it. One for each team, I believe, and that was about it. Second period, about nearing the halfway point, 13:39 left. Keandre Miller from the blue line takes a big ol' snipe on goal, and it is in for a 1-0 lead. Rangers go up. They take the early lead, which is fantastic because, we tend to do better. It's always, in a game like hockey where it's usually not a high-scoring match, if you score first, that's always massive. Now, Nick Ritchie would tie it up with just a little over a minute and a half left to make it 1-1 in the second period. And then the third period, which was basically just a complete carnival for both teams. 21 seconds in, Pastrnak tips it in, makes it a 2-1 game. After that, one of the most beautiful passing sequences by the Rangers this season. I complain that they pass too much, but my goodness gracious, this was a beautiful one. They head in, Strome has it, he passes to Fox, Fox back to Strome, Strome over to Buchnevich, Buchnevich with a perfect setup for Mika Zibanejad, and he buries it 2-2 to tie it. Soon after that, 12:34 left. Oh my goodness gracious. Buchnevich carries it in, charging into the offensive zone with Potato, Mika, and Lafreniere. Buchnevich has it, he passes it to Anthony Potato, and Potato with a very nice setup, underrated setup, to Alexis Lafreniere, who with this beautiful fake deke move, acting like he's going to go fully across the blue paint, barely goes into it, backhands it over Tuukka Rask, who is one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. And my goodness gracious, that might be Lafreniere's goal of the year. That was just absolutely fantastic. That was stunning. That was a beautiful goal by Laffy to make it a 3-2 game. Then, soon after that, 10:24 left in the period, Strome with a really nice setup to guess who, Vitaly Kravtsov, and he beats Rask. I believe it was to his blocker side, and now it's a 4-2 game Rangers. Now, because nothing's easy or simple, Marchand went on the power play backhand one to make it a 4-3 game. And at this point, Kincaid would have left with probably a groin injury, and Shesterkin stepped in. Now, I thought Kincaid was magnificent, and I thought Shesterkin was bad. That's just what it was. That would make it a 4-3 game. After that, a minute 53 left. Pavel Buchnevich would have it. He would pass it to Mika Zibanejad with a really nice setup. And Mika makes it a 5-3 game, his second of the day. That is his 24th of the season. And man, oh man, Mika Zibanejad turned himself into a different player at about the halfway point of the year, thankfully. Now, because nothing is simple, at 1:21, Bergeron would snipe one to make it a 5-4 game and make it very close. And with the empty net, the Rangers started passing and trying to let Mika get a hat trick to have one last one on the season, which I like the team effort. That being said, you almost lost because right after they just kept passing it up, trying to get Mika the puck to get a hat trick, the Bruins would come down and almost tie it, which was, not good. Thankfully, they wouldn't tie it or win it, but that was a little sketchy, and I wasn't a fan of how they did that. So, for my thoughts of the game, I thought Keith Kincaid was magnificent. 28 of 30, if I'm not mistaken. He was really, really good, holding an incredible Boston team who could make a relatively deep playoff run to just 2 goals in his 30 shots, and both of them were even strength, which isn't great. I thought our penalty kill was pretty decent. Not magnificent or anything, but pretty all right today. But Igor Shesterkin, I love him. I'm a massive fan of Igor, and I think he just kind of checked out in the last few games of the season. But my goodness gracious, the past 4 or 5 games, he went from one of the best goalies, just entire league wide. People might not want to accept that, but statistically, going by goal against, he was really up there. And man, the last 5 games, he kind of fell off. Now, granted, that has to do with the fact that most of his defense around him crumbled and went from a mediocre to okay defense to, Hartford. That being said, it was that. I also think he checked out a little bit, but boy, the last few games did not look good for Igor Shesterkin. So hopefully, I was going to say hopefully that it gets better next game. There is no next game. This is it for the season. That's sad. A lot of rookies had goals, 3 of them to be exact. Kravtsov had one. Lafreniere, beautiful, might be his goal of the year, had one. And Keontae Miller with a nice drive from the point. So that was fantastic. Mika also had a pair. This was just a great game by the Rangers. Buchnevich, by the way, in his return from his stupid, bogus suspension, had 3 assists. So a nice 3-point night for him to finish off his season. And that's it. The Rangers would get a 5-4 win over Boston. And that's it. That's the last Rangers game of the year. Until October. So that is very sad and depressing, if I'm being honest with you. I want to thank everyone who's watched all the Rangers videos, which is, obviously that's kind of odd for me to do that since it's an Astros channel, but I also have other things. I think I need to kind of eventually change the channel name from Talking Astros, because I also do Rangers and Jets, and I feel like that's kind of weird now. I don't know, if you guys have any suggestions, I'd like them below, because I'm genuinely starting to look for a name to kind of change it to. But I don't know, there's a lot of them that I've thought of that I just feel sound cliche, and I don't want to just make it my name, because that would be kind of weird. But I feel like that does need to happen. And now I feel like I'm just stretching this out because I don't want this to end, because this is the last Rangers recap of the season. It's insane. 54 games and it flew, or 56 games, and they flew by like that, man. This, it feels like just the other night I was ranting about our opening night failure against the Islanders, the 4-0 game. And then after that, we turned it around with the 5-0 win over the Islanders with Georgiev in net. Man, this has been a pretty darn good season for the Rangers. I'm just rambling at this point. I need to actually cap it, which sucks. I'm probably going to make a video Monday or Tuesday, depending on when I get some free time. That isn't, Mother's Day, Astros games, and among other things. So hopefully, Monday, I'll make a video talking about why I view this season as a success for the New York Rangers, even though they missed the playoffs. Regardless of Mother's Day or anything in particular, I'm going to make a video if David Quinn gets fired. I don't know if he is or not, but it certainly seems likely at this point, given that we fired pretty much everyone else in the organization and had sort of a clean sweep. So if that happens, I'll make a video on that. But that's it. I'll be back in October for more recaps for the Rangers. I'll probably make some other videos for the Rangers if they make any additions in free agency or trades. And I might make some videos about the Stanley Cup playoffs, but I don't know yet. This sucks. So yeah. Thank you all so very much for watching this video, but also this full season of Rangers recaps. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Rangers.